Because of the obvious threat to untold numbers of citizens, and because of the crisis which is even now developing, this radio station will remain on the air day and night.
Officials and newsmen at first discounted those eyewitness descriptions as being beyond belief. However, the reports persisted.
Listen to them. Children of the night. What music they make.
My mic muted itself. I'm so ashamed of that. No. What is up, everybody? Welcome to Boogeyman Radio. I'm David.
I'm Charles.
That is Charles. I had this plan. I was going to put you on this side of me, and I was going to do this whole finger pointing thing.
Just fix that. There we go.
Boom. Let's redo that. Hey, everybody. Welcome to Boogeyman Radio. I'm David.
I'm Charles.
I'm retarded. I don't know.
It's fine. It's okay.
Oh man, it's been
a week.
Been a week.
Been a week. It's been a couple weeks, really. Yeah, we had to. Man, I've had a month. Let's put it that way.
We've had a month.
True.
We've had a month for the show's sake. We've had a month. I apologize to everybody because we had to show a couple replays. Work gets in the way sometimes, and
and personal health, stuff. It's just fine.
Yeah. We're taking care of ourselves.
That's right.
But the good news is we're back to our regular times and everything.
That's right.
Everything's smoothing up. It's gonna be nice.
Regular daily scheduled time. Well, weekly scheduled times and shenanigans. There we go.
Yes. So we've got, the next few weeks. What we've got planned for the show. Starting tonight.
Yeah.
Awesome stuff.
I'm excited.
Can't wait for...
It'll be a great couple weeks.
Next week's going to be good, but the week after that's going to be awesome. We can't tell you guys what that is. We just wanted to tease you a little bit.
Yeah, just a little touch the water, touch and go,
Maybe in Patreon we'll tell you guys, but that's
maybe.
And if you want to join our Patreon, right down there's the link. What's up, Kelly? How you doing? Whoop, whoop. So we planned on having 3 guests tonight.
Yes. Hey!
There he is.
Perfect.
We'll get to our guests here in just a minute. We plan on having 3 guests tonight. One of them is not going to make it for this show, and that is Josh Hurd. His daughter had a track meet, so he had to be there for that, which is understandable. But our other 2 guests have never been on this show. And I left it a mystery because I knew it would drive some people crazy, especially Cassie. I knew it would drive them crazy trying to figure out who it was. So, here in just a second, we'll reveal them. Real quick, guys, want to throw this up there. Visit the Haunting History store to get custom t-shirts, hauntinghistory.threadless.com. Get some badass shirts, especially our Boogeyman Radio shirt you see right there in the middle. I'm wearing it tonight. Support the show. Support your friends. Good plug. Had to put that in there.
Of course.
Yeah.
Always.
I think
necessary.
We jump right into this because I'm
why not?
Very curious to put this out here. All right, guys. So we're going to introduce our guests. First off, our first guest is a MUFON agent, a special MUFON agent.
There we go.
Yeah. She is a ghost hunter and a founding member of After Dark Paranormal. Please welcome Miss Terry Peterson Mosby.
Hey, I'm gonna get a soundbite of cheers in the background.
God.
And she's muted. And then now she's unmuted. There we go.
There we go.
Hey guys.
Hey.
Good to see you.
Thank you for jumping on the show. We've got some great questions, specifically up your alley, as far as UFOs go. Can't wait to jump into those. But thank you for jumping on this for us.
Thanks for having me.
Our second guest, you might have seen him a time or two on some shows. You may have even visited this guy. Everybody, the owner of the Hinsdale House, executive producer of multiple shows on the paranormal, Mr. Badass himself, Mr. Daniel Class. Hey!
Guys,
I never know how to say your last name.
you said it right. You said it
Did
right.
Oh my gosh, that's a first.
Sarah's gonna be pissed because I never say her name right. It's like
Well,
I go back and forth because I don't know. So good. I'm glad I got it right. Class. All right, I'm writing that down. Pronounce it like class.
Classroom.
Yes. And I've got some questions directed especially for you, Daniel. And just a heads up, I kind of explained this to Terry earlier. With the Boogeyman Radio, we don't hold back on our questions. So don't feel like you have to like tiptoe around them. If you want to not answer a question, you can not answer a question. But if you
just
do,
tell us.
Awesome. Yeah. We also have an After Dark, everybody that's watching. It's go to patreon.com/ Boogeyman Radio. And you get our After Dark show, which starts at 9:15. And that's a continuation of this show. It's just we let our hair down and we say more messed up things and act just dumb.
Drink or other things. But yeah.
So we're going to softball this to start off, okay? Because I know you both investigate the paranormal, right? I want to know, like, what experiments have you tried, and would you like to further use that experiment? Is there anything that you would do to improve it and keep doing it? So, Terry, since you were first on, let's start with you.
I did do an experiment, and I probably need to get out there and do it more. We were at Ashmore Estates, and we done like a short burst EVP session, and then we played that back and then ran a recorder to see if, like, not only did we get any EVPs, but also were they answering us again. You know, it would kind of like be an echo, but we had a couple of things. Like, we would ask a question if anybody was tied in their beds on the third floor, and when we played it back, it said yes as a EVP, but then when we played back the second recorder that was running, it also said not all the time. So it was almost like, you know, you're doing an EVP session, but then you're playing it back and it gives them like a second time to answer it, to gather around.
Follow-up question to that. Do you think that it was a secondary voice, or do you think that was the secondary recorder capturing a frequency that was unheard on the original recording?
I think it was a totally different EVP answering the same question twice.
It's interesting. I have seen some people do like the electronic EVP session that you're talking about, but I don't think enough people are actually doing that and utilizing that. So that's
right.
I'd like to see. That's something I would also like to see furthered on investigations. What about you, Daniel? I know you and some of your cohorts have been messing around with a lot of experiments.
Yes. Some that we can't talk about yet.
Right.
Out of the ones you can talk about.
Yeah.
What one was your favorite, and would you do it again?
Yeah. There's been a lot of different things that I've tried, but just so everybody knows, like, season 4 of Deathwalker, if anybody's seen Deathwalker yet, is focusing on experiments, and we're going to be doing some pretty big ones when we're done filming here. We filmed 10 episodes already. We're filming 10 more in May, so there's going to be 20 more out for Halloween, and
nice.
It's going to be like things that you've never tried or thought of trying.
I'm
Nick's
excited.
really putting Nick in throwing him right in the mix there. So he's really into it, though.
Good.
I mean, we had him touching lightning bolts in season 3. If anybody saw that,
I've seen that.
Oh wow!
I've seen a clip of that.
Yeah, that's pretty cool, right?
It's insane.
But Austin Maynard, he's our tech guy, and he's been coming on and coming up with a lot of good experiments for us to try, and we're just making them reality with cash, you know. But I've done some pretty cool. Just recently at Fairfield County Infirmary. I did this years back, and it was amazing results. We were doing it was Jeff Fent and myself, and it was the first time that I had ever met up with somebody that had a geobox, 2 geoboxes in the same room, right when they were starting to get popular, right when they were starting to get on TV, and I was like, oh, this is freaking amazing, because he doesn't make a lot of them, you know. And so we came up with this kind of these questions that we were going to ask, but we didn't tell the other person what the questions were. And basically, we were asking questions. He was up on the 3rd floor. I was down on the 1st floor, and seeing what responses he got. It's kind of like, I guess, kind of like an Estes method, but with just kind of logging what was being said to see if any of the things that were being said on his box were corresponding with the questions that I answered. And then we revealed each other the questions that we asked and what we wrote down. We recorded it too. It was really cool to see that maybe we had some kids in there that were playing around and jumping back, and they have the ability to jump back and forth from floor to floor, answering questions from each of us and giving us solid responses that are pretty amazing. It was pretty cool.
I like the Estes method to an extent, and I do like that you separated floors. I think that's the bigger key to it all, because like a lot of people will wear the noise canceling headphones.
Yeah, I don't.
Not all of them are that good.
No, agreed.
You know,
especially it also depends on which device you're rolling.
This is before the Estes method was ever an Estes method. I mean, we didn't have on noise canceling headphones. We wanted to hear. We just thought of it pretty quick, and it was pretty cool, pretty compelling. I did it again when I was there a few weeks ago, and it worked out just as good. But we didn't use geoproxes. We used spirit portals and stuff.
Good. So correct me if I'm wrong, but I think when you use the PSV7, the original model, when you use that, when you do the sweep rate, doesn't it kind of dumb down the volume too? Doesn't it kind of lower? I could have sworn there was some.
I don't mind that.
Yeah, it does.
Like when you're not sweeping, it's loud as hell.
It's loud,
yeah,
right?
Yeah.
So with that, even with that, the noise canceling headphones, if it's not that loud through the noise canceling headphones, I guarantee you could probably hear people talking.
If they're in distance.
Exactly. But if you're on the 7 floors, like you said, a whole different story. But that's a very, very good one.
House, they did that. They had a person had to go in the basement with the headphones and the goggles, and then the other people were up on the 3rd floor. And that's how they were running it. And it's the first time I ever participated in the Estes method. And it was some of the stuff that I heard was pretty cool. And I had my hands like this too in the basement. It's an old house, but I couldn't hear anything that they were asking. It's kind of cool.
I've always just kind of wondered, like a lot of people use the Estes method in the dark, and then they put a blindfold on.
Yeah.
It's like, why are you wearing a blindfold if you're already in the dark? The dark is taking away your sight. So.
Well, maybe because our mind would it's going to look for any sort of light source it can think of, and if there is any, like you have something through the window or someone's phone or what have you. If there's people close-ish, it's going to try to concentrate on that, which unfortunately does not take away from all of your senses. So the blindfold, I feel like, would also it completely negates that. To a point. But hey, man, you do you, man. You do
you. Why don't we just all just get naked and investigate?
Yeah. But, so for me, real quick, I do love, I'm a sucker for great ghost stories. So I love that we started off with these two. But I do have to ask for both of you, what is your favorite, either paranormal experience or ghost story or whatever you'd like to talk to people about? Start with Terry first, of course.
Okay. I could go to Ashmore Estates a lot. I'm actually a part-time caregiver up there. And so I've been there probably 150 times since Robin's owned the building. I was up there one night sitting in a room, and thank God I have a witness. There was 3 of us, and I sat in a straight back chair looking straight out the door, and I actually thought there was daylight, there was a light coming in, but he used to have that pole light in the back. So I thought the light was filtering through the window into the room, and I'm looking across the hallway. So I'm sitting there, and I'm unloading my gear and setting it down, and a friend of mine's right to my left, and I look up, and it looked like the old snow station on an old TV. Instead of being like a black shadow figure, it was like that sparkly white color, and it was across the hallway, and I'm looking at it, so I'm thinking it's the light. And this thing was probably 7 foot tall, and then I noticed that it had eyes, and it's looking at us, and it takes 2 steps, and it cleared that whole hallway, and I'm like, if it takes 2 more, it's in here and we can't get out. So yeah. I asked LB, I'm like, can you just stand up and look out that door? And I don't know if LB's been on a couple TV shows, but he gets up and all you hear him say is, oh shit, and he comes off the floor because he saw that, whatever that was, out there in that hallway. And by the time Jolene got off the couch, it was gone. And then, so then I get up because I'm like, okay, that had to be the light. I was staring at a wall. There was not even a doorway there. And then there was a group up there like 6 months after that, and one of the paranormal investigators said something to Robin. They saw something similar to that because he's like, you need to get a hold of Terry and talk to her. So it's been seen in the building a couple of times. I haven't seen it since.
Was that on the third floor?
It was on the second floor, and I was in Robin's nest, that room that he kind of redid.
Oh, okay.
On the second floor there in the middle. Yeah, looking straight out the door into a wall.
Wow. I've only really had any major experiences. Number one, in the boiler room, and then during Ash Bash, during the 100th anniversary. After all the investigation was done, I was up on the third floor by myself, put a blindfold on, put a camera on myself, and I'm asking for anyone to come into the room and pull up a chair right next to me and have a seat. And just a few seconds later, you hear this chair scoot across the floor. I rip that blindfold off. I'm looking around. I don't see anything different. I grabbed the camera because I was shooting in night vision. I just panned over, and a chair from the hallway had scooted into the door frame, like it's in the doorway.
Wow.
And I was like, what the hell, man? Like, I'd never had.
I need to go to this place.
Yeah, that place is crazy.
Yeah, it's a really interesting place for sure.
I've never been, so I'd love to check this place
out.
out.
Yeah, you got to get up there.
All right. Hey, how about you, Daniel?
I've been there. I agree. It's a pretty awesome place. I don't know. There's so many cool stories that have happened to me, but I always like refer back to like when I first started, like on our quest to see that or hear that or whatever, you know. And we got into some pretty big places when we first started out with not very much knowledge of what we were doing. The typical tools, laser grids and all that stuff. But we were in this old theater called the Riviera Theater, and it was in North Tonawanda. It was between Buffalo and Niagara Falls, North Tonawanda. And the team was running some experiments. My group down on the stage, they had K2 meters on the center and the left and right, and they were trying to call out like production, stage bow, stage left, and trying to get like energies to make the K2 meters going off, and people were in the audience clapping and stuff. And we had up on the mezzanine level in the balcony, I had some cameras running, just static cameras, and I had a laser grid up, and I just wanted to go be alone, just like kind of see if I could get that experience. And while I was up there, I'm sitting at there's a baby grand piano up there, and this black mass just kind of came out of the wall. There was an organ over on the wall, and it just looked like it came out of the wall, and it's coming towards me. And it's not like, it still like freaks me out just to think about the laser light was not going through this thing. So in my mind, I'm like, it's solid, but it's not there. It's not real. Like what is going on right now, and like this thing's coming closer to me, and it's like bending light. So I'm like, what is this thing, And it was literally like 2 feet away from me, and I just took like a deep breath, and I was like, I just couldn't breathe. I couldn't breathe. And then it turned, and it just went right into the projection room, right through the wall, mind you.
Oh, wow.
And I just remember taking that, letting that air out of my lungs and getting up and running down the stairs like a fucking chicken out into the street. And I couldn't breathe. It was just like hyperventilating a little bit because, that's what I was there for. That's what I wanted to see. And I got what I wanted. But it just wasn't making any sense to me. And I remember the Louis, who specializes in the photography on our team. I'm like, Louis, he came running out to see, what had happened. And I said, there's something up there, dude. You got to go plaster that upstairs with your cameras and stuff and he caught a picture of it.
Oh, wow.
Oh, nice.
Of it. It's like this, I don't even want to say like demonic, but it has the 2 eyes. You can just make out the 2 eyes. It looks like a face, like but a puzzle kind of like crackled face. I don't know. But yeah, it was pretty intense for me for that. Now I feel like if what happened to Terry, if I saw a big shadow man, I'd probably run at it and say, "What's your name? What's your name?"
Yeah, right. Chase it down. Don't run away.
We all say that, but
you know, like where
Right.
it's not as scary anymore. Like what's going to happen? You know?
Yeah, I feel like it's kind of like one of those when something happens. It's just one of those feelings in the moment because you can either feel something from that, like that could be putting off some feeling that you're absorbing, and it's going to make you feel that way. Or you could be just, calm and comfortable and collected, and then something happens. It's like, oh yeah, look at that. Like,
I don't care how calm and cool, collected I am. You're still gonna feel that energy.
Oh yeah, I agree.
On a roller coaster, and
then you realize what happens, and you're like, oh.
And if you think about it, it's probably giving off EMF. I wasn't detecting it. I wasn't checking on that at the time. But if energies are powerful enough to light things up and do stuff like that and speak in different realms that we can't hear with our own ears, I mean, the chances are I was feeling probably some of that static electricity. It was so close to me.
Yeah.
You feel that.
It's a follow-up question here, and both of you can answer this. What do you think it is about theaters that, like, there's so many haunted theaters? What is it about theaters do you think is like making these places haunted?
We have one here in Quincy that's over 120 years old, and I think it's just, they were fun times back in the day before we had 500 channels of TV. You gathered the family and all the kids, and that was your big Sunday thing to do. I think there's just so much energy in there of fun and family, and it just stays in there.
Well, I also think it was a different time. The vaudeville era, all different energy, different types of things that happen. And, even though it was a different time and maybe it was a fun family type thing, women were looked at differently. They were treated differently. Kids were treated differently. Actors and actresses were treated differently. And there were deaths that happened in these theaters. There were things that happened that, were shoved under the rug. And
I'll say whether it be crew hand or an actor or someone just passing away. Yeah.
Just in the stuff that we know from some of the theaters I've been to, a lot of accidents that happen.
Yeah.
Sandbags falling on people, mishaps with screens. And then you have the stuff with females, prostitution, depending on what type of theater you're going to. Maybe some of them weren't so family friendly, or maybe it was more like burlesque or adult entertainment with drunks, people that were, not too getting drunk and not too shy about shooting their gun or something like that. You have a lot of different scenarios and a lot of different energies that are kept within those walls that could come out at any time, depending on where you're at. So.
And another follow-up to that. So as theaters modernized, you're getting a lot of electrical lines running through these theaters. They run a lot of electricity. Do you think that would create, let's say, a Faraday cage type of situation where you have energy already in the theater, but then you get this like cage setting? Do you think that's kind of trapping that energy there?
Your guess is as good as mine on that one.
Maybe trapping it and feeding it.
We got to get that question.
Yeah.
What's gonna? But it's a good theory. Actually, but some of the theaters too. If you look at where they're located, depending on what city they're in, a lot of them are in the downtown area, which usually has water. Like I know, like the Riviera Theater is right on the Erie Canal, like right on the banks of the Erie Canal, and there's a big conduit source there as well.
That's true. And being the downtown area, it's the most populated area, the most active and busy area for its times. And a lot of these places are older historical areas that would have had the railroad coming through there. So you've got a lot of traffic coming in through that way too. So
when you're talking like the Erie Canal, you're talking drunk Irishmen, the people working on the canal. Those weren't places I would want to hang out. If I was thinking modern day, like those were drunk, fighting all the time, killing people. It was a rough life. You're an Irish immigrant back then, working in the flour mills or the grain mills on the waterfronts or stuff like that. So,
what's up, Cassie?
Finally.
So I'm going to throw it out there for any viewers. If you guys have any questions you want to ask, just ask it in the comments there or in the chat, and we'll put it up on the screen and we'll let them answer. Josh Hurd texted me. He said, "I'm coming, I promise." I told him sexy.
Famous last words.
Famous last words. I want to move a little bit away from the ghost thing because Terry has a background in the UFO research. And something whenever we decided to have you on the show, Terry, this was one of the first questions that I had in mind was, months ago we had the outburst of all these UAPs. The government said that they shot down 3 of them, that they were over areas that were too difficult to reach. What were your thoughts on? I don't know if you heard about that, but what were your thoughts on that? And do you think that they actually recovered anything or even attempted?
I don't think they were UFOs. And my feeling is, if they really shot them down, I mean, supposedly they've took out a few with their radar technology, like the Cape Girardeau supposed to went down, that they shot down, and of course Roswell. But I think, and if they did, I hope that. Well, let me change that. I hope they didn't really shoot down anything, because they're going to stir up more than what we can fight off. Just my opinion. I mean, I think they're here trying to save us from our own stupid asses, but you know, you start shooting them down. And as far as the one that made it all the way across the United States, I just think that was a ploy of some kind of BS from the government. But
see, I kind of side with you, because they said that the 3 that they shot down, like 3 out of the 4, were like a cylindrical in shape. And then shortly after they shot those down, over Honolulu, there was a laser grid display in the sky for 10 seconds. And our own government came out and said that was a satellite from China. And they were not impressed. They're like, we can do that too.
Yeah,
we've been able to do it.
right.
Yeah.
so
Blaming everything on China, basically.
Yeah. So it gets you thinking. Maybe that's why it only lasted 10 seconds.
Oh.
It was made in China. Anyway, but you know, like with those objects, the outburst of UAP sightings has stirred up a lot of the conspiracy theories about the projection, the hologram invasion stuff. So, do you think there was any tie to that? Maybe, or possibly it was just a military thing? Like with
I think it's military and government combined together. And the only reason I say that is I'm also a member of the CE5 with Dr. Greer, and I don't know how much you know about him, but he's all about the free energy, and he's got so much proof from all these people that's worked undercover about all the stuff that the government's been hiding since the 40s. And, you know, we're not going to get rid of free energy, because then nobody's going to be making no money. But as far as the UFOs go, I mean, he has come right out and told people to prepare, because the U.S. government is going to make an alien invasion. And so to scare the crap out of all of us, and we all freak out. And I truly believe that the UFOs and the aliens are here to save the Earth, because it's definitely a unique planet, maybe one of only. I mean, I know there's life on other planets, but what about if Earth is the only one that's like this one? And I think they are sincerely trying to save it. And we got too many stupid people wanting to push the big red button, because, you know, there's so many sightings around atomic energy plants.
Let's see, wasn't there stories of ships or unidentified craft possibly affecting like rockets and not necessarily rockets, but like nuclear facilities and stuff like that? Like, I could have sworn that there was
right. And I don't know if you know, but when Roswell, that was the only air base that stored the atomic weapon back in 1947 in the world. In the world. So, you know, you've got alien action, and then they shoot them down and supposedly have them. So,
and then we have this huge advancement in technology in the next, you know, however many years. But something leading up to that. So I remember watching a documentary, and they were talking about how shortly after Roswell, there was a lot of private contractors that were brought in to try to make like aerial type crafts, and they were describing them as like some are cylindrical shapes, some are cones, some are triangles, like trying to make these ships work. And these were actual articles in newspaper. Do you think that has validity of what's happening today too?
Oh yeah, I think they do have crafts, and they have worked with real live aliens to get that. I mean, there's a conspiracy theory out there that Eisenhower actually met with them and made them a deal. Hey, you give us technology and we'll let you come here and take so many people off the planet. I
did hear about that too.
But what if, what if, you give us this, we'll let you take a few hundred people off the planet and you can do with them whatever you want.
Turn the other cheek and blame it on whatever else, all these disappearing people.
China.
Yeah. China. I mean, then you had this explosion of just UFO phenomenon from people back in the day of abductions, and they're just like, nah, you're crazy. Just
Right. Yeah, I mean,
no, they exist.
Back in the 70s, you didn't even talk about it because everybody thought you were just a nutcase.
You guys hear about the cattle in Texas just like recently?
Yeah, I just read that.
I have not. Go for it. I'm curious.
So yeah, I mean, there's no tracks around any of the cattle. They're just mutilated in different counties.
Oh.
The sexual organs, the udders, I forget what else but it was
tongues. I think they took the tongues out of all of them.
Yeah, they took the tongues out of all of them and then mutilated the bodies and just in different cattle in different areas, and there was no sign of any footprints or any vehicles or anything like that. Somebody said that they saw some type of vehicle that looked like a tripod or something. I heard, like where these little sticks came out, and it kind of surrounded the cow or something. But that would be the only thing that would, I don't know.
Now, did this happen in a short amount of time? Like, was it a short period of time that all of these?
Yeah, this was like last week.
Oh, yeah. I hadn't heard of it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was just a few days ago.
So it's very reminiscent of the cattle mutilations back in like the 60s and 70s, well, some of the 70s, where it's just, there's no disturbance, there's no nothing, it's just dead body with, just horribly mutilated, horribly mutilated with surgical precision that was not possible back in those days.
The tongues said the tongues were taken out surgically. It seemed like they were taken out.
And wasn't it somewhere like there was no blood either, or just blood was gone?
Yes, blood was
none on the ground. So it's not like they stabbed them or something and the blood ran out. There's nothing on the ground.
It's like they just dropped the dead carcass.
Right. There was an incident on that Skinwalker Ranch show that's on TV, and they actually have video where they saw a silver disc in the sky. That was like they had a herd of cattle, and like all the cattle left but this one, and it was like they have video of it like laying underneath these trees. There's a silver disc right above it, and then they go out a few hours later, and it's been surgically mutilated, and it's laying there dead.
Oh, wow.
And they actually have the video, and it's just like,
I've been watching the new season.
yeah.
Oh, it's on the new season. That makes sense. I had
no, it's an older episode.
Yeah, this was like on season 2, maybe.
Oh,
well, maybe aliens like to eat udders and tongue and
maybe.
I don't know.
It's possible.
It's soft tissue. Maybe they probably don't have teeth. They're just gumming everything.
Oh, that's a good point. Put it in a blender and just drink everything.
You don't know about smoothies online.
Cow on a stick. Yeah, tongue on a stick.
Right.
No thanks.
Terry, Lori's got a question for you. She asked, have you heard of any research or validation about the claim that Piedmont, Missouri has had alien contact?
Oh, yeah. Piedmont's a big hot spot. Actually, I think maybe this weekend's their 50th anniversary to a crash that they had down there, and they're trying to get their city as the UFO capital city of Missouri or something like that.
Oh, wow.
But there's a lot in that. The Piedmont has that clear Crystal Lake, where they've actually seen a craft leaving the water, coming up out of the water and entering and going in and out of that lake up there. So yeah, that's a big hot spot right now. Piedmont and Cape Girardeau's not far from there, about an hour.
Yeah. I wonder if they're like going in for marine life or what they're trying to cooling down the ship. Maybe I don't know. Like, wonder what the water like. I can understand maybe if they're out in the ocean and they come up through the ocean, maybe there's like an underground passage or something. I could see that, but Yeah, I don't know. It's to me that's so interesting. Just what you doing in the water, dudes? Like, what you guys doing?
I think there's bases all over in the water because we're too busy
Yeah.
looking up. We're too busy looking up, you know.
Yeah.
Might as
And
well
we
be
don't even know half of the
Yeah.
probably 3/4 of the ocean floor. So,
Right.
you know, what's down there?
Well,
So this is going to be a good blend here. Good blending question. There's a lot of people. I'm not one of them, but there's a lot of people that suspect that the ghosts that we encounter could be alien intelligence. How do you guys feel about that? And do you think that would be, I guess, plausible or possible?
I 100% do think it can be. I don't know if anybody is. So last year when we were filming at the Western Block in Lockport, New York, we just had two Sony. We had a Sony FX6, a Sony FX3. One was on a tripod. One Nick's cousin was carrying on a Ronin, and so they were both set up the same way. Justin was filming them, and you just heard this big bang, and then as you're not so on the Sony FX3, which is similar to the Sony FX6 or the Sony FX9, I'm sorry. On the 9, it picks up. It looks like three fingers coming into the screen. It looks like they have like suction cups on the finger. It doesn't look like a human hand, and it grabs. It goes like this, like it's going towards Nick. Then it pulls out of the scene. Now we've had the video footage, the raw footage sent to universities. We had a person from MUFON look at it. We've tried to get as much, just to try to see like what the heck is this? Is it an interdimensional being? Is this an alien? Is this what? I mean, it didn't seem like it was a spirit. It didn't seem like it was a dead person. It seemed like it was more alien-like in nature. And if you go watch that episode, it's called the old Western Block. It's like jaw dropping, like just to think like, what is this? What is he actually? What? And this isn't the camera. It's not like any special effects. It's not like this is just raw, low light capability camera. No like night vision or anything. So this whatever is coming in is bending light. It's bending light on this camera. And it's you can physically see the fingers, and it's just I'd say like one of the most amazing.
That's on Deathwalker, right?
Yeah.
Okay. What was the episode again? I'm gonna write it down.
Western Block. We're going back there, season 4 again.
Nice.
Well.
That's interesting. Now I can understand if aliens are able to use telepathy and to speak through their minds to us and communicate that way, somehow there's got to be a frequency involved with that. So possibly the EVPs that we capture could be their telepathic voice. Do you guys subscribe to that, or is that something that's kind of one of those theories?
Theoretically, you've seen you've heard of out of body experiences. In ways that you can what do they call that when you can psychically astral projection? Maybe they have the capabilities of doing that where they can go anywhere and stay in one spot.
Like that would be very interesting. Or I was also thinking too, maybe like a type of cloaking as well, where we've talked about this with Bigfoot, Dave, where it's just like if they can cloak a ship, what keeps them from possibly cloaking themselves? So they could be all around us. We don't know it, and we think they're ghosts.
Like the Harry Potter type thing, where they just cover it up and you can't see.
No, not like cloak, like an actual cloak. But I like that. Why not? But they have some sort of just
capability,
technology to just go invisible. Yeah.
Well, and I don't know if you guys have ever spoke to Frank Sumption before he passed away. He's the one that made the original Frank's box. He built those boxes to speak with aliens, not ghosts.
Oh, see, I did not know that.
Yeah, all those boxes.
Frank's boxes.
He was reaching out to aliens through those boxes.
I have a couple of those.
Do you?
Makes me think. What if Tesla and Edison weren't actually talking to ghosts with their ghost phones? What if they were talking to aliens?
Yep.
Well, they're similar to, I think Frank utilized their theories a lot in building the phone to the dead. So, I mean, it's
Right.
possible.
And I've read some articles where Tesla was reaching out to aliens as well.
Okay,
Yeah.
see, that makes sense. I mean, it's
we-
plastered everywhere, so it just happens. But
Okay, I want to get into something here that's some recent things that have happened. Most recently, I just read today that Ghost Hunts USA is ended. They are done.
I've seen that.
There's entertainment groups have pretty much all but vanished during COVID. Are we seeing a lasting effect with all this, or do you see like a potential rise in the future of like these like entertainment groups like Ghost Hunts USA or Spirit Realm Network, or I'm sure there's another one I can't even think of right now.
like
But-
separate from like big TV, or are you saying like people?
Yeah,
doing their
not
own thing?
necessarily the TV shows, but like the groups that host these events. Do you think we're going to see that coming back like full force, or do you think that's something that's just kind of worn its welcome and everybody's just going to do their own thing?
I don't know.
I hope they wore their welcome. I mean, I know that some of those groups try and pack in as many people as they can. And, maybe people are finally realizing, hey, if I contact that haunted place that I really want to get into, I can do it for a fifth of the price of taking 4 of my friends. But I'm not sure what happened to Ghost Hunt USA. I just saw that today, too.
I found out about Ghost Hunt USA yesterday because I know that Robin and myself and Adam Kimmel, they never stopped taking care of our 3 locations. I don't know what happened with anybody else, but they always paid us. They always had the people that they had come to the location were always on par. They always had they're good. I spent most of today and part of yesterday reaching out to the people that are losing their jobs with Ghost Hunt USA and offering them positions within what I do because of the job that they did and how they presented themselves in the paranormal and different theories and different teachings, and how they tell the story of the Hinsdale House is very important to me, and having somebody in there that knows the history is very important to me. I also got a hold of Pam from Ghost Hunt USA, and I mean, it's going to be a positive story as it can be. They're not giving any refunds to anybody. However, I did get her to give me the people that did buy tickets for the future upcoming Hinsdale House event that is in May. So I was able to actually call and reach out to most of the people, and I'll continue to allow them so they're not getting screwed, one way or another. It reflects on me. It's important to me. As I told Pam, I said, regardless of you're not giving, it's good. It's coming to the Hinsdale House. They bought tickets for the Hinsdale House, so I need to make sure that these people are taken care of one way or another somehow. And it's not even about money. I said it's just about common decency thing to do. And they're going to do what they do, but I need to do what I do with the Hinsdale House. And they've been cool with me. And I have 3 new helpers now that are just in staff shirts too that are going to be helping out with the program there. So that's pretty cool. But I've also seen people stem out from Ghost Hunt USA, and they want to do it better. They learn like, okay, this sucks, or this isn't a good way to communicate, or this isn't a good way to deal with things. And I see a lot of little groups like Got Ghost. He started off at Ghost Hunt USA. Para Expedition started off at Ghost Hunt USA, and they do it better now, but in a smaller capacity. I think in a smaller capacity, it can be okay if you're focusing on maybe 1 or 2 or 3 locations and really doing it right and not having mounds and mounds of people and maybe keeping the numbers low and everybody's making a little money and that's fine. It's not even, it's all about making sure how the place is presented to me. So that's my 2 cents, I guess.
So for me, what I was thinking too is if this does continue to fall in a bigger sense, I do feel like that if people do special events with celebrities or people that are bigger in the paranormal field that have been either on shows or have had shows on YouTube or on Amazon, what have you, I feel like if you throw that, like, hey, that person's going to or is hosting a investigation at blah blah blah, then I think that will absolutely sell. Like that's to me is people will actually pay to go do that kind of stuff, 100%.
Yeah.
So I think there will be maybe a rise in that of specific people doing specific events, but maybe not as a pretty regular kind of thing. Kind of like a con, but not a con.
I've done that too with like Nick and some other people.
Yeah.
Like Nick Groffler and like, you know, I've been on an aircraft carrier out in San Francisco as called the USS Hornet. It's huge, right? Mm-hmm. And I think we had like 50 or 60 people, you know, but he also brought on like different. It wasn't just him. We had like, you know, me, Robert Murch, Elizabeth Saint. So we had enough where we could split these 60 people into small enough groups where we could make sure that their experiences were good. And then have a chance to move them around and you know, work with everybody, I guess. I guess it's all about how you do it and how you present it and try to make sure that everybody has a positive experience, you know?
Yeah, I agree. Because investigations can get so cluttered so fast.
Yeah, I feel like with the bigger ones, it's people are coming to see what they see on TV. You know, they're not.
Yeah.
So if you can show them some of that equipment that they see on TV, see how it works, but also talk to them about how it really is.
Yes.
You know, you're making a little dent in their knowledge of what we actually do on a normal basis, you know, as opposed to just entertaining you for 3 or 4 hours. You know. Right. So there's like a level of what we do. So.
I think it's important to do that too. Like there's so many people that have this misconception of what a paranormal investigation is supposed to be because what they see on TV is only a microcosm of the entire thing. It's like they're there for 5 minutes and they're bored. It's like
you watch a 44-minute show and we were there for 3 days filming constantly.
Exactly.
Right.
And on the entertainment side, I'm going to bring in Josh now. He's just joining us, and he joined us at a good time because
great question.
This next question I'm going to get everybody's opinion on. Hey, Josh.
Hey, guys, what's up?
Hey, Josh.
69.
Can't see you. What?
Yeah, I'm sitting in the dark. I'm smoking on the porch because my house is chaotic right now. So yeah,
all good.
I thought you was in blackface.
Oh
no,
he's not Justin Trudeau. Calm down.
Follow the little red dot.
Yeah, just follow the.
Yeah, just follow this.
Sniper.
Do I blink after
just an orb?
Yeah. Just an orb. Jesus.
Okay,
it's there.
Josh, you're joining us for the After Dark, yes?
Yes.
Okay.
You know that's 3 hours, right, Josh?
I'm good for like 30.
All right. So, like I said, we're not going to softball every question, but so this has got to be brought up because it was somewhat recent. About a month ago, Nick Groff spoke his piece on the paradrama that affected him and others. This was on the heels of some of the show cancellations. What is your guys' take of the whole overall situation? Not just what he was saying, but like the whole overall situation that just erupted. And Josh, since you're first in here or just got in here, let's start with you, bud.
I guess mine is, I don't know. Like I've always had the idea, I guess, that there is paranormal investigators and there's paranormal entertainers.
Mm-hmm.
I will say that there is plenty of room for both. I will say that. I think it's tough sometimes, I guess, when, you know, legitimate paranormal investigators, like what you guys were talking about before. I've had people reach out to me, right? And they're like, hey, my house is haunted. Okay, cool. What's going on? You know, can you check it out? Yeah, sure.
House calls.
I was like, okay, so, and I kind of like go through the motions, right? It's like, listen, this is what it's going to be like. We're going to show up about 4:00 in the afternoon. We're going to get a lay of the land while it's still daylight, and I'm going to figure out what I'm going to trip over. And then we're going to investigate till probably 4 or 5 in the morning, most likely, right? And like this lady specifically that I'm remembering, she was like, oh, I thought it was just like, going to be like an hour, and then you just show us everything that you captured. And I'm like, what?
Oh man, I wish
Like,
it just happened in an hour.
It would be amazing. Yeah, it's like, no, that's not how this works, And
Right.
so it's a weird misconception, I think, that maybe the general public has, or the lay person has, in concerns with the paranormal. They don't know exactly what goes into an investigation, or a proper investigation, moreover, right? But yeah, I don't know, man.
All right. Well, Daniel.
I mean, Nick's one of my best friends. I'm happy that he was able to get that off his chest. It's been since I've known him, it's always eaten away at him. The shit that's happened to him, and I think he's in a happier spot. He's in a happier place in his life. It doesn't really matter anymore. Everybody thought he had an NDA where he couldn't speak, and that wasn't even the case. He was just trying to be cool and just move on and do his thing. And he kept getting shit on. So, he's in a good spot now. We have Deathwalker. He's he's got a lovely wife, a new baby. He's living life, and he's happy. And I think that, being able to get things that are like that off your chest are helpful in moving forward. I don't think he's even going to mention it ever again. I think that he just needed to get that off his chest. It was the right time, with Dakota, with him speaking to Dakota and information coming out that, just made it the right time for him to do it and just got it off his chest. And, he's moving on. Everybody else should move on too now. It's a time to move forward. Things are happening with the networks. Things are changing. Who knows what's going to happen? All these shows are getting canceled. Who knows where it's going to be in a year? So I mean,
say one door closes, other doors will be open for other people.
Yeah, I mean,
that's
he's always landed on his feet, and look what Dakota's done.
Yeah,
and Nick got his deal with FilmRise, and his stuff's all over the place now, so people can watch it. He just wanted it to be for free. He wanted people to be able to watch it for free, and we sat on that for almost 3 years, trying to get that deal in the United States so people could see that at no cost, and everything panned out, Yeah, we were almost in the street, eating canned tuna fish, but I mean, it worked out. It works out when you do things for the right reason,
That's a really good point, what you just said, that when you said you guys were almost in the street, a lot of people don't realize how much time, effort, money, and energy just goes into this kind of thing. And they see face value. They see that you're out investigating. They see that you're out doing all this stuff. They're like, oh man, this guy's making a lot of money going out and investigating and doing all this. That's not the case. It's, oh man, this guy's spending a lot of money going out and investigating.
No, literally the
on at home.
Ghost Adventures have 40 some people on their crew, right? We did it with a couple editors, indie style, it's just Nick and his cousin, running around, and what you see on the camera is what you're getting. It's pretty amazing that how we're presenting it, and how I think it's cool because we're using a lot of reenactments to help sell the stories of what's happening as well, and we're going off on a different tangent, but yeah, a lot goes into it, and there's a lot of different positions that I have to fill, but I didn't even know we're positioned. I didn't know that certain things had to get done. I'm just learning as I go to try to make sure that everything runs smoothly as possible with what we're doing, because and I think this is normal. This is probably as abnormal as it could be. If I were working for a network, I'd probably be like, well, this is freaking easy. This is an easy job, because I'm so used to doing a lot of stuff, so much stuff, and trying to keep everything together. So
I'll tell you what, this guy likes the DP.
Does he?
Yeah, I like Dr. Pepper. Yeah, I
thought you meant double penetration. Sorry.
Josh got it. There you go.
No, he got it too. It's fine. It's fine. Jesus.
All right, Terry, what was your take on the whole boggling thing?
It's almost like the paranormal drama between the teams, and I have to agree with Josh. I mean, there's enough room out there for everybody, and it's just I find it hard to believe that one or two people can run all the shows and what the network puts on there. That's a sad way to think about it. And I like, it's just like investigating with different people. Everybody's got unique ideas, and and methods that they want to try. And it's just like, let people have their own show and let the viewers decide who's going to stay on TV if that's what it takes.
There's a huge reason why Dakota got a huge backing. So,
What he did was amazing.
Yeah.
What he was just able to accomplish, like setting up that GoFundMe and just
it was genius though. Come on, I mean he was playing your heartstrings. It was like a violin, and then all of a sudden,
timing is everything.
That was smart. It was a smart thing. I mean, and to have the number one rated show canceled. I mean,
it's kind of stupid, right?
Right on the peak of where it should be continued. Everybody loved that show.
Yeah,
and I think a lot of it was because it wasn't all paranormal; it was all fear based. And hey, we'll see. I can't wait to see what they come up with because they're going to be able to do paranormal and what they were doing before. So
they're going to do what they want.
Yeah, it should be good.
Yeah,
it's going to be great.
Charles, any more questions you have, or
I'm going to save it for
the After Dark?
Yep.
Okay, Daniel, are you going to join us on the After Dark?
I can't.
Okay.
I actually have my daughter here with me, so I have to take her home.
Right. I hear Terry's pup whining.
Yeah.
You want to put him on camera? You can put him on camera.
He's being so ornery. He's being really good, but he's a puppy, so this is my little 11-week-old Great Dane monster.
Aww.
Oh my goodness.
Adorable.
Hold on, my daughter wants to look. Hold him up.
Oh,
look at that face.
Isn't he cute?
Look at Cutie's face. All right.
He's sitting right in with the 4 Doberman, so we'll see when he gets bigger than all of them.
Yeah. Terry, are you going to join us on the After Dark? Or
no, I tell you what, I hear my old one hollering too, so I better go take care of my kids.
All right. Well, that's about it for our show tonight. I appreciate you guys jumping on here and doing this discussion and everything. We're going to be doing some more of these down the road, and you guys are always welcome back on. So we'll be extending out invites to you guys again. So
okay.
Definitely appreciate it. And then
thank you. Thanks for having us. Good to see everybody.
Yeah. Good to see you guys too. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you guys. And Josh, there are some questions that we asked everybody else. You didn't get to answer. And we know how your filthy mouth gets.
Yeah.
I know Cassie has been
Pretty
dying
bad.
for us to have you on here. This lady. So we will dive deeper and deeper and deeper with Mr. Josh Hurd. He liked that. On the After Dark. Guys, if you want to join us on the After Dark, you'll have to sign up on our Patreon. That's patreon.com/Boogeyman Radio. Patreon's cheap, $2.49. It's less than a gallon of gas. So that gets you a month of access. And like I said, we are back. My work schedule is fine. Everything's panning out over in Charles's end with health and everything.
Fair enough.
Good. And we'll be back on a more consistent basis. We won't be running reruns. Anything you want to say, Charles, before we go?
Nah, keep it classy. Thanks for showing up. Appreciate y'all being here.
Yeah, Josh.
I wasn't talking about Josh, but okay.
Yeah, I'm trying.
I just wanted to rub it in. I just had to rub it in.
I guess. Rub something. What?
Rub it out. And one more thing.
Yeah.
Buy our merch. Help support the channel. Especially this guy.
Yeah.
Michael Shop, who's that?
Michael, we're coming for you. Coming hard. Like WWF. All right.
Jesus.
You guys have a good night. We'll
Bye,
see you
everybody.
next week with a conspiracy episode.
Yes.
All right.